I'm Bang Bang, and I'm gonna answer some questions about tattoos on Twitter. Pretty sure this is a dumb question, but say if you have a tattoo on your arm and you somehow cut that arm, what happens to the tattoo? Do you just end up with new skin in the middle of it? Yeah, you get a scar. This is what that looks like. Tell me again how these scars happened.
I had a piece of wire in an impact gun, and the wire slipped out, whipped around, and got me from my armpit down to my wrist.
So this tattoo's a few years old, and some of what I'm gonna do today is fix some of what that metal wire did to him, all these scars throughout his tattoo. For each different grouping is something different I'm gonna do. So if I need a really, if I need a tattoo in a really fine area, I'll use a grouping of needles and fewer needles, depending on how large I want that line to be. Now I'm just trying to hide some of that scarring. I'm gonna keep some of it because it matches the pattern of her dress, but try to fix as much as I can. I kind of like to work like a copy machine, so I like to finish it block by block and just move along. Since my hands are rested on the person, we gotta kind of finish it and then we can put our hands on that finished area and work above. So that's kind of the way I learned.
You'll always have a scar, like no matter what, but we'll get the tones to match.
If it's a deep cut, you'll get a line right through your tattoo. If you get stitches and they don't sew it together evenly, it can be crooked. If you get a bad one, I would recommend asking a plastic surgeon to close it, because I've seen them misalign tattoos and then there's really no fixing it. Even a cat scratch can remove pigment from your skin and leave you with a little mark of fresh skin. I have seen some very bad ones. People working in kitchens, it cut with a knife. The worst that it can be is if it heals back misaligned. Yeah, that's a tough one. How hard is it to get a tattoo removed? Asking for a friend. If you're getting a tattoo removed, there's two ways to do it. Sandpaper and laser. I recommend laser. People do that. I've seen it on Instagram. People removing tattoos with sandpaper. God, Russians, they're crazy. Laser removal, it works. Both of my hands actually were tattoos previously that I had lasered and covered up. So yeah, you can totally get laser done and it works. It works pretty well. From Abby May, what's the best way to make a word tattoo interesting? That's the question. I don't want just words. If you're trying to make a text tattoo really interesting, try to make it unique, unless you want a common horizontal text on ribs tattoo. And then, go for it. My favorite phrase I think I've ever tattooed on someone was, "Fuck it." Queen of blending. How do folks get simple words and basic grammar all wrong tattooed on their body? Does this mean the tattoo artist fails too? I'm not sure her grammar in that tweet's perfect. There's a reason we're tattooers and not English teachers. Like, we're not the best spellers. We do a lot of spell check, we do a lot of grammar checking, and people still do get it wrong. Oftentimes, it's from a song lyric. We know it's wrong, but it's the lyric. So it works. It works for that person. We talk about it sometimes. I remember I tattooed something on someone once where we purposefully changed grammar, lose an apostrophe so it feels more linear. We definitely talk about it and we do our best, but yeah, I've seen some pretty bad ones. From Leah, does anyone know how much a person should tip a tattoo artist? Tips are not expected by tattoo artists, so it's really on you. It's really cool if someone gives you a thoughtful tip. Speaking for myself, I deeply appreciate the people who get tattooed by me. When they get me something specific to me that's more than just like money and a handshake, that's really special. I think that's cool. Sorry I didn't answer your question. I don't know, 20%? Oh. From Haley, how do you draw a tattoo based on a song? Help. Whenever we design tattoos, we start with subject matter. So what's the song about? Then it's like, okay, what's gonna be the best visual interpretation of that subject? And then what is going to work best on you and your body? Find your subject matter, find your great tattoo artist to help you design it. I feel like I've tattooed Let It Be like 100 times. It's an amazing song and like a perfect tattoo. I might need a Let It Be tattoo. From Robin? Tattoo artists are incredible. Like, how do you draw on a squishy, imperfect surface without an eraser and consistently create good pieces? It's tough to draw around a person's body. We only get so many passes on someone's skin before we scar them. You have to be very precise and direct in what you do. Sometimes you have to give up. You can take the skin as far as you can take it. And if you didn't get it exactly where you want to be, you have to stop. To answer your question, the way we make these tattoos great and on a consistent basis is preparation. Preparedness it kind of lines you up for success. A great tattoo artist is very prepared for what he's going to do or what she's going to do. They know what the tattoo is going to be before they even begin.
I use a traditional tattoo machine. The electromagnets turn on and off, and a spring that carries it back and forth. And the capacitor regulates the energy, and that electricity moves through the power unit, and I control it from my foot switch. It's kind of like a sewing machine. They are essentially the guts of a doorbell. That's why I said this is a traditional tattoo machine. There's several different kinds, and you'll see some of the artists here working with tattoo machines that look much more like a pen. Now, the reason I really love working with these kind of tattoo machines is they're all handmade. You have to be a tattoo artist or recommended by a tattoo artist as an apprentice to be able to buy one of these from one of the guys who makes them. Now, there's knockoffs, and you could buy a tattoo machine on Amazon or like Walmart, but you will not get the same result. They have to be handmade by an expert tattoo artist. A lot of tattoo artists will not sell tattoo machines online. They will only sell them in person to a person they know. They really don't want to get their tattoo machines in the hands of someone who can harm somebody. You hear how quiet it is in here until I start tattooing? That's the difference between rotaries and coil machines. I love this sound.
From Adrian, so what's up with LeBron's tattoos? Does he have any cool stories? I tattooed LeBron once, and I have a cool story. I got a phone call one night at 8 p.m. that LeBron wanted to get tattooed the next day. He was in Cleveland and I was in New York. So I fly there and I get to LeBron's house. I say hi, I go downstairs, walk past his bowling alley, into his barber shop, and I forget ink caps, which are pretty important. They hold our ink when we tattoo, and the size of those caps matters when I'm diluting inks. I needed ink caps. So I started calling tattoo shops in the area and say, hey, I'm in town to tattoo an athlete, and I totally forgot my ink caps. My name's Bang Bang, I'm a tattoo artist. I'm not some junkie making kitchen tattoos. I'm really in a bind, can you help me out? People hang up the phone on me. I was like, geez. I was like, I guess I got a name drop. Hey, I'm tattooing LeBron, I really need ink caps. Can we be friends, please? Nobody would listen. So I found a head shop that sold pipes and tattoo equipment in Cleveland. We drove, I picked up ink caps, go back, we made a really cool portrait of his daughter on his back, put him through a bunch of pain. His mom said, you're the greatest at what you do. Like, my son is the greatest at what he does. And coming from LeBron's mom, that was one of the best compliments I ever got. Keeping up with Kelly. In case you wanted to know how a tattoo can change over time, this is the 10-year difference. I didn't realize how bad it looks until now. I saw what it looked like when I first got it done. How do you even fix this? When a tattoo is first made, that tattoo is as sharp as it'll ever be at that moment. Over time, your white blood cells come and break this pigment down and carry it away. In this case, where you have a dense kanji and the area in between each one of these symbols of your skin, this area is quite small. As the black settles into your body and spreads, those spaces of skin start to become less visible. For your tattoo to fix it, there's a couple things you can do. You can cover it with a much larger tattoo and you can pull your eye away from this area, or you can get it touched up. It looks to me, since it's so closed up and there is not as much skin in between as there used to be, that you would need to put white around it so that your eye can make a clear separation between the black ink and then that gray blurred edge and then a little bit of skin in between, and then again it picks up that gray blurry edge and then black ink. Let me show you how that's done.
Since his tattoo is quite old, this is about 7 years ago we did this, I just want to add a little bit of contrast to any areas that I think have aged and changed a bit. So I want to make sure his tattoo stays as sharp as the day we did it, and I can do that with just a couple of darker edges and a couple spots that'll help the eye separate and put contrast to some things that have aged. I'm gonna work around here, around her hand a little bit. I'm just gonna create a little bit of edge between where her hand is and this cloth that she's holding. Whenever there's not a defined edge next to something, I'm gonna try to make the edge a little more defined. This tattoo's aged really well. Whenever I tattoo, I'm trying to think of how the tattoo will age, and so the contrast points are really strong. So if there's really deep darks and really light lights right next to it, it makes a really easy step for the eye to see. I'm trying to create the thinnest little edge just to separate two areas that are in highlight. So I wanted to separate enough for the eye to see it, but I don't want to put a big thick black line in. So although I could do that with this, that variable of depth right now, trying to control the depth of it as I'm moving my hand, will give me just a much lighter effect. Imagine it hurts a lot less too, right? Yeah. If you've ever seen a tattoo that's very old, it's very blurry. Working really large or with high contrast over big areas helps to avoid the image changing as the tattoo is going to settle. When you're 80, it's going to look like
This is why when I tattoo, I'm making decisions based on what it's going to look like in several years. From John, fellow tattooed peeps, how did you find your tattoo artist? There's no decent website and Instagram search is useless. Instagram's pretty helpful, I think. There's some cool like tattoo fan pages. Just an assortment of different artists works from around the world, so you can kind of find a style you like, find that artist, and track them down. Information travels really fast nowadays, so you have access to the entire planet like in your pocket on your cell phone. Do some good research and you'll find someone really great, probably not too far from you. There is a lot of amazing artists in the world. From Amrit, Arca-Twitter, who designed Bang Bang's tattoo store on Grand Street in New York? I need to know. Jesse McGowan is a designer I've worked with since I opened my first store. So me and Jesse kind of collaborate. I know what we need for tattooing. Jesse really knows what we need for the eye. The core value of the design of the store is balance. It's black and it's white on purpose, and there's no art hanging in our stores because we're making it. It's built specifically for artist experience and client's experience. When I designed the store with Jesse, we thought about where people are gonna sit, where that wire is gonna come from, where it's gonna run to, where's the power source for it. We hid a lot of things. We've eliminated certain wires on like floor lamps, for example. Now they're battery powered, so we just lose one of those obstacles. Tattooing is very stressful, and being tattooed is really stressful. We wanted to make an environment that's incredibly welcoming and break that barrier down. So there's amenities for artists, there's places to relax, there's a big dinner table, and there's TV downstairs, there's fish. It's my job as the owner of the store to make people feel comfortable, whether they're making tattoos or receiving them. For tattoo artists, we pour so much of ourselves into our work, and then it walks out the door and we don't see it anymore. It's a little like sad. It's kind of a bummer.
That was Tattoo Support. I'm Bang Bang. Thanks for watching.